Oh, hi. I didn't know I'm being watched. Hello, everyone. Today we're in the heartland of America, Washington, D.C. My name is Chet Baker, and today we're going to explore what it means to disinform. And to illustrate the threats of disinformation more precisely, we're going to walk you through a case study on QAnon, a notorious American conspiracy theory aimed at destabilizing American democratic institutions and inciting distrust in politics. Now please, have a walk with me. Now let's set the scene, right? We live in a digital realm. We live in a digital world. 67% of the world are connected on social media, which means everyone is sharing information to each other. Anyone can make false news. Anyone can make their opinions. People are genuinely, increasingly interconnected with everyone in the world. Someone generates opinion, I don't know, in Australia, and someone in America sees that and be like, that's a good point. Let me adopt that opinion. Let me adopt that ideology. People are increasingly sort of influenced by each other's perceptions, each other's views, each other's sort of creation of narratives, and all that plays a great deal in American politics, right? So based on that, 78% have encountered or read deliberately falsified information on social media. And that's threatening, because why are we getting a rule, a governing, a system where people are deliberately misinformed and have generally falsified sort of opinions about specific topics, and you get a rule based on that? Well, that undermines the effective sort of governing institutions, effective, politics in American democracy. And based on that, when we take the case study of the American election in 2016, we find that 27% of the population have read at least one fake news article in that election. And we don't know exactly the numbers that have affected the sort of voting patterns based on those fake news, but we can definitely understand that the narrative and the fake news really matter in creating people's opinions and making sure that people vote in a specific desirable way. We also don't understand if those things are affected by foreign actors, if foreign actors spin their narrative, as there's been a conspiracy theory on the Russians. I mean, it is largely true that the Russians have interfered in American elections. And do we really want a system where people are increasingly affected by everyone's views and increasingly affected by someone generating falsified information deliberately? Now, do we live in the post-truth world? Do we live in a world where facts no longer matter in establishing what's right and what's wrong? I mean, look at the COVID pandemic, for instance. People no longer believe that experts rule on vaccinations and using masks. People were more comfortable believing in their own ideas, or believing in what their relatives shared, or just generally being disillusioned with technocracy and expert rule in our country. And that's what we have found precisely in the conspiracy theory on QAnon. People have created a ridiculous conspiracy theory that we no longer believe in and that we don't understand where it really comes from. So what is the core basis of QAnon? Well, it poses that a liberal elite of pedophiles and sexual predators are running the country secretly and are waging a secret war on Donald J. Trump, our country's great leader, and are trying to destabilize America in that regard and run and penetrate all walks of life and push their tentacles and control inside everyone's minds. And the conspiracy theory was essentially pushed through by someone called Q, who is a government informant who leaked all the government secrets and who's telling the truth. And the fact that CNN is just ridiculing QAnon is proof that this is all true. Alright, now that we've established what QAnon essentially is and how it's been propagated, we're going to explore and understand what it is. What does it truly mean to be a QAnon stan? But before we get into the video, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Passage Interdeed, which is a crypto marketing plot where we can... What sort of reporters would we be if we didn't get a first-hand insight on what it means to be part of QAnon? And we're here in Birmingham County, Alabama, and we've found a strong and a devout contributor to QAnon, Benedict Cumberbatch himself. And he has posted a myriad of controversial tweets on X, as you call it, and he's a dangerous, dangerous human being for democracy and the strength of our nation. We have him here, and we're going to interview him right now. Hi, Benedict. My name is Chet Baker.
I'm Benedict Cumberbatch. No relation to Benedict Cumberbatch.
Nice to meet you. Very nice to meet you.
Getting paid
We will arrange it after the interview. Okay.
How much?
Depending on if the interview. Okay, relax. Okay, we are here. We want to learn what it means being QAnon. Are you part of QAnon, Benedict?
I think we all are. Chad. We all
Chet.
are.
Chet.
Chet.
Yeah.
Chet.
Yeah.
Alright. I think in a way we all are. I think QAnon is it's more than a belief system, it's a way of life.
Right. Just quickly segueing into the second question of our interviews, what are the goals and objectives of QAnon?
To expose the deep state cabal of sex trafficking pedophiles, such as the Clintons, Barack Hussein Obama, and all the other Washington snakes who have abused children for years. And it disgusts me, Chad. It really disgusts me.
And if you were more precisely to illustrate some of the information points that you've learned, that you have understood sort of form the basis of QAnon. So what are they? Where you found the information?
Well, our beloved Q, a government insider, has leaked bravely, I must say, leaked this information to us, the American public, to expose this deep state cabal, posted on such reputable forums as 4chan and Reddit and other.
Like Twitter? Other medias? Would you be able to show some of the sort of the pictures or images or statistics that you've found that relate to the, sorry for calling it conspiracy, QAnon? Okay. So the understanding of the world.
They call it a conspiracy theory to keep us down. You know?
So would it be fine if we just posted on the video some of the sort of statistics that you found or some of the images that are definitely sort of proving of that sort of
they're real.
Of your initiative?
They're all real. Yeah, they're all real.
But what's your favorite one?
Well, there's this very graphic image. You got Bill Clinton in stockings. You have like Hillary Clinton, the left-wing communist liberal, whipping him. It's disgusting and it's vile. And I think it should be nowhere near our children.
Understood. And just quickly, a last question: like, what do you think? What are the key actors that are involved in QAnon? So, who is really, do you think, is benefiting? Who do you think is motivated to pursue QAnon? And who do you think is at the receiving end of QAnon? And who do you think is partaking in QAnon? Really, just quickly go over that.
Well, the American people. Some may say that QAnon is a right-wing conspiracy theory that benefits billionaires like Donald J. Trump or Elon Musk. But I believe that QAnon is it's a revelation. It's almost biblical. It's rebirth. It's life. It's exposing the injustices that the American people have faced for far too long by these deep state neoliberals.
Who's participating in QAnon?
Well, there's many brave warriors. Alex Jones, who exposed the fraudulent school shooting and all those fake children who didn't die, is bravely fighting.
The characteristic of people like that are part of QAnon, that believe in it. So is it mostly men? Mostly what is it?
Mostly men. Mostly single, lonely, middle-aged men, fat, inbred, long hair, kind of disgusting.
Whilst doing my research on sort of the theory, the understanding of the world, we found out something about the storm. Could you please explain what the storm is? What's its significance to the QAnon sort of movement?
Storm will change everything. The storm will see Donald Trump ascend to the gods as the exposer, the drainer of swamps, the deep state liberal pedophile communists. They will all be exposed and stand trial and stand as a testament to their shame, as Donald J. Trump will stand above them all as the drainer of swamps, and we will all be free.
Why?
Because the deep state pedophiles will be exposed and arrested en masse.
Thank you very much, Benedict. That pretty much wraps up our interview.
So how much
you can stop looking at me.
How much am I
We are going to segue into this
much am I
expert
gonna make?
understanding of dissemination channels and the mechanisms behind QAnon.
I'll do more if you pay
Man,
me.
you're gonna get paid, alright?
Alright, I'll do a lot for £20.
Okay. That's right. We learned from that interview that QAnon is essentially a threat to democracy because people really get so passionate about, to the point where they internalize crazy conspiracy theories about cabal of liberal elites that are sexual predators and pedophiles that run the country and try to assault Donald Trump, that really internalize those values. And we understand that people are really vulnerable to that, particularly from people with poor media literacy, perhaps lack of educational opportunities, and sort of economical vulnerability. Now that we understand what QAnon essentially stands for and what it means, I wanted to understand the deep sort of mechanisms of creating that support base. Who is most vulnerable? What psychological factors are there? And what are typical techniques of disinforming the public? And to do that, I have an interview with an expert. All right, Dr. Expert, I mean, it's great that you've let me in here. I mean, the facilities are brilliant. Really fascinating being here in Arizona and TURD. Please just tell me, what do you do here, and what is it that you study, and what is it that you research?
Yes, thank you so much for your introduction, Mr. Chet. Yes, as you say, my name is Dr. Expert, and it's our job here, and especially my job here as the lead expert at TURD, to research and flush out and sniff out all the mis and disinformation we can. And we take this and misinformation really seriously here at TURD, up to the point where we leave it up to our students that we teach to find out if what we actually teach them is factual or not.
Well, that's absolutely brilliant, Dr. Expert. I mean, I'm really honored to have you here. And let's just get straight into QAnon disinformation, right? So could you please run me through the common disinformation techniques, and what is specifically that QAnon have been using to disinform and sort of channel that, energy of oppression and, fight and mobilize all of its members together?
Yes, sure. I'll do that. QAnon is a perfect example of the interplay that we can see between misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. And they do this by leveraging digital strategies that exploit human psychology and social media algorithms to spread false narratives. And many of its claims that QAnon promote are both lacking in justifiable evidence and expert opinion, which obviously connects to misinformation. For example, Berinsky found the movement has employed various disinformation tactics and misinformation tactics, including rumor milling, like spreading unverifiable or unverified intel, government intel, with like leaked government documents. Also, propaganda, which is based off of dismissing their false claims as mere jokes to evade, scrutiny and stuff. And whataboutism, which refers to deflecting criticism by pointing to unrelated scandals. Also, creating fake personas and manipulated narratives further undermine trusts in institutions.
All of this was done through the persona of Q, right, and spreading messages on 4chan. That's correct, right?
Yeah, social media is definitely plays a very big role in the whole QAnon thing, yeah. And also in their expansion, especially through 4chan and 8kun, for example. They served as big incubators and, kind of moved their conspiracy theories forward. It has also used social bots and coordinated campaigns, amplifying its content across mainstream networks. During the 2024 Super Bowl, 75% of the activity recorded on Twitter was actually generated by bots.
I'm really wondering how people can be so stupid to believe in those ideas. So what are some psychological and sort of social things that influence people into believing these conspiracy theories?
Well, that's a really good question, Chet. Just to base off of Mark Colin and Shen, I think QAnon is a very good example as to how misinformation spreads through cognitive biases, emotional engagement, social influence, and algorithmic amplification. And one very important aspect to highlight is how our brains seek patterns of familiarity and also favor these things like familiarity. And QAnon really exploits these things. Also through confirmation bias with cryptic Q drops that followers interpret as hidden truths. And their simple and emotionally charged explanations for complex events are easier to share and believe, and easier to believe than nuanced facts. QAnon spreads For example, this one particular example, they've spread panic over child trafficking and deep state threats, making followers feel compelled to act. The sense of urgency fuels virality, and also as people share content out of alarm, other people share content, and it's an important thing, although it's false, of course.
Thank you very much for this insight. And now we're going to explore what techniques we could use for stopping disinformation through an example of our own of an echo chamber of some French socialists.
Wow, have you seen the latest study on the impact of fake news during elections? It's crazy how misinformation shapes public opinions.
Of course, and that's why we need to use every possible strategies to tackle it. Like, have you heard of the Swiss cheese model?
Yeah, clearly, it's the idea that each defense against misinformation has its limits, like a slice of sweet cheese with holes. But by stacking them, we can reduce the overall risk, I think.
Exactly. And that's where automated detection comes in. With machine learnings and network analysis, we can spot misinformation patterns and content. Like you can see with Facebook and Twitter, they have each one algorithm that analyze posts to detect the fake news. Like in 2020, thousands of Facebook fake accounts were banned, and they were part of the whole misinformation campaign from Russia.
Yeah, clearly, I agree with you. But well, these algorithms have their limits. Sometimes they miss problematic content, or on the other hand, censor legitimate posts. So we need to complement that with message-based approaches, like fact-checking, for example.
So yes, platforms work with organizations like AFP or Snopes that verify the information. But there is also automated fact-checking. Google, for example, have developed a tool that detects all the fake quotes from public information and from public news.
That's true. And to go further, there are warning labels. Mm-hmm. YouTube and Twitter put alerts on their videos and tweets containing questionable information, and studies has shown that this reduces the perceived credibility of fake news.
Like a good example is the accuracy prompt. To go further in this argument, we can see when you are about to share an information, a pop-up asks, are you sure about the reliability of your information? So this can help to reduce the sharing of fake news by 30% of all the information that are spreading in these new networks, according to an MIT study.
That's incredible, because by combining all of this, we are exactly applying the switch cheese model. Each strategy has its flaws, but together they make misinformation much harder to spread.
Yeah. No, we just need to convince platforms to invest more in these movements. Like we can see these tools, and above all, there's movement can help to educate citizens on how to use them and how to use all these new platforms and this new way of spreading information and getting information.
Yeah. Okay.
Thank you.
Well, to sum up, what have we learned today? I mean, QAnon, we've spoken to a QAnon member, and he's told us everything about their beliefs. They believe that the government is run by liberal elite who's running this pedophile and sex trafficking ring that is trying to undermine Trump, and Trump is fighting aggressively against it. It's been spread by someone called Q through various social media channels, and as we've seen from Dr. Expert, he said that they essentially abused a lot of the psychological biases of humans, like confirmation bias, echo chambers, appeal to emotion, narrative creation, and used various dissemination channels as well as bots and social media, and just created a wide network of sort of abusing the system and making sure that people believe in all of this horse shit, frankly. And yeah, to round up, disinformation is truly a large threat to democracy in America. People are getting dumber and dumber and believing all of this nonsense and making their voices heard and votes based on all of this horseshit heard. Truly incredible days we live in, and I'm sure AI will do best to prevent it. Yeah, said nobody. But yeah, We do have some techniques to promote it, to prevent it, of course, and as we've seen, we can promote preemptive debunking, promoting digital literacy, fact-checking and all of that stuff, and that's great, but we cannot guarantee it. And to you as a viewer, I recommend to be as fluent as possible and to be read up and to be literate enough to read through the bullshit that is shown to you on social media. Thank you very much. It's been Chet Baker, and what a lovely day here at Washington, D.C., America.